So you take a silver in the Olympics, and it's funny because you know, just seeing the joy from both you and Dina in the Olympics, and that was a very tactical day because it was so hot, and I know that you know, Coach Larson, I think, is the best in the world when it comes to thinking about planning around a race, knowing what the conditions are going to be, knowing what the heat's going to be. He seems to chart a lot of that stuff, and so you felt probably pretty prepared for what happened in Athens.
Yeah, you know, as Coach Larson was the distance coach for the Olympics, so early on he went and see the course and, you know, arrange hotels or places to stay for us. And but both of them, Coach Vigil and Coach Larson, you know, trained us for very tough course.
Right.
And been in Mammoth, going over those mountains. You know, it's one thing to be in Athens and see the course, but to visualize it, or you're gonna go from 12 to 20 is going to be just big hill, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's scary. But the USOC did a great job to be able to host us at the Olympic Trains in Chula Vista to say what we need to eat, how what the humidity is going to be, nutrition, all that. So it was, you know, we all attended that seminar for marathon, and it was great to have. But once we made it to Athens, I told Coach Larson that I don't know what I'm going to be feeling like when you know, racing, but this is not a hill, because in Mammoth we just
you're on mountains, you're up at
so it was you know, training at altitude, and you know, I sat in the sauna for up to 30 minutes.
Did you really? So
yeah,
did some heat
training and things like that, and we were extra layer clothes, and so we were really both of us were
very ready.
Right.
Very ready for that. And as the race progressed and you're moving your way up, when did you feel like, you know what, I'm actually going to get an Olympic medal here?
I saw Coach Larson. I'm about 15 km into the race, and, you know, not about the medal, but I know it's going to be a great day. And, you know, the whole thing with Athens was just to be patient and, you know, go with it. Coach Larson said, go with the bunch of your body for a long run. That means make it 20 miles, and then the last 6 miles, make sure, you know, now
just
go and compete hard. And, you know, probably with the 35K into it or so, I knew I was going to be a medalist. I just had to be one person. Probably there were 4 of us.
Right.
But the Lima was way ahead. You know, I was slowly making progress, and I didn't even know he was ahead in that. But we had a U.S. medical every 5K telling us, you know, where we were. So minute behind, 45-second behind, 30-second behind, and then when I finally made the group, they still said about 45-second behind. So I was kind of like, whoa. I thought this was the group, and then, you know, we worked our way up, and I tell Stefano Boldini to just andiamo una a due, which means let's go get 1, 2.
Right.
And we pushed it, and he ended up getting the Lima, and Stefano Boldini had a great day, and he made a move with about a little over 5K to go, and for me that was a little bit too early, and I could have gone with them, but at the same time, you know, in 2002 when I did my first marathon, I hit the wall very hard, and that came to my conscience and decided, I just got to protect it. I just want to be a medalist.
Take the silver. Nothing wrong with the silver.
Oh, definitely.
And how did that change your life? You get an Olympic medal, and obviously we saw what happened in New York, but you know, there's something about an Olympic medal that just touches people. I've seen people who are worth millions of dollars, and when they see an Olympic medal, they just melt. There's just something about that medal that impacts people.
Well, you know, to make the Olympic team is a great achievement, but to be on the podium is I mean, beyond words. And for me to be able to, and my family to be able to achieve that such thing, and for Coach Larson and Coach Vigil to visualize and to actually live in it is just huge. And, you know, it's not like the 100-meter where you kind of finish and say you wait for 3 seconds or 4 seconds or 30 seconds to see if you won or you're on the podium. For me, I knew, you know, with 5K to go, I was going to be a medalist. And, you know, when a mile to go, I threw my hat and tried to go for Stefano Boldini. But it's just a flashback where my family, where I grew up and been raised in born in Eritrea, living in Italy for 1.5 years, and competing in the U.S., you know, from 6th grade and on, and just all those things
Learning
that have
English,
yeah, so
identifying
that kind
table.
of goes on your that goes in your head, all the
Pencil.
flashbacks and things
Sure.
like that. People who believe in you,
Yes.
and in ninth grade, people were saying, you're gonna make the Olympic team, and we'll see you then on TV." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay," but to actually
To
that
get
happen
there.
and to be a medalist, it was a huge accomplishment.
So when you came home, it must have been crazy.
Yeah, they had they met me at the airport, and the whole a lot of San Diegans, and
Yeah.
it was just a beautiful thing, and I obviously cried, and
Yeah.
it touched me pretty deep, just because they see teachers and classmates or team classmates and others that were that had been a big part of my life.
So between 2004 and 2008, you're coming off the silver medal, and you had some injury issues. And when did the hips start bothering you?
2004 was a great year. 2005 was, I made the world championship team in the 10K and had rupture my quad, and first time I ever stopped.
Oh, you ruptured your quad during the race?
During the race in Helsinki, and first time I stopped in a race, and it was very tough. But came back from that, recover. Only 8 weeks of training, I ran the New York City Marathon and finished third behind the world record holder at the time, Paul Turgot, and Hendrik Ramala, who beat me in 2004. Because 70 days after the Olympics, I did another marathon, the New York City Marathon, and I was second runner-up or second place behind Hendrik Ramala. So 2005 was another good year, but good self-confidence builder, because we did the minimum training and we finished third and behind a world record and the defending champion. So it was very encouraging for me and Coach Larson.
Sure.
And 2006, I did Boston. I finished third, but we made tactical mistakes there. And 2007 was the Olympic trial year for the 2008 Olympics for the marathon.
New York.
And it was in New York Central Park, and that's where the big injury happened. So
did it happen during the race?
Yeah, it happened during the race. Obviously, we were going 5-minute pace, and then when Ryan picked it up about 12, 13 miles into it, and I tried to go with him, and I started overcompensating. I started with the calf, and I started protecting the calf, and went to my hip, and it ended up being a head fracture, but we didn't know that until January 26th of 2008.
But you had to be basically carried back to the hotel.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you couldn't walk at all.
Definitely not. It was a very tragic day, not just for me not making the team, but for a good friend of mine, Ryan Shea, who passed away, which I was sitting next to him on the bus to the starting line, and 2 hours later he was gone from us. So,
when things like that happen, here's a young guy who obviously was in the top shape of his life, and when things happen like that, it changes. Well, it changes you. It changes the way you look at life and how precious every second becomes.
Right. I mean, when I just heard the news right after the finish line, and with my good friend John Clemens, who used to train here, he said, "Hey, did you know what happened to Ryan?" And I thought he's talking about Ryan Hall.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, he won, didn't he?" And he's like, "No, Ryan Shea." I'm like, "No, what happened?" He's just like, he's dead. He passed away. I'm like, I just went into shock and just couldn't control my emotions and crying, and I didn't make the team, but it wasn't me but not making the team, but just like I didn't even care about taking care of myself, just because here's somebody who just got married and in July, and he's taken away from us. So
and a great person who had done a lot for the sport, and at the same time you're dealing with this this hip issue that I'm sure you're looking at it and going, who cares about my hip right now? This Ryan just passed away. I'll worry about that later.
Right. I mean, completely. It was just. It was no concern about me. It's you're talking about Alicia Shea, his wife and his family and things like that. It's just very, very sad day.
So with your hip, how long did it take you to get a handle on what it was and how to come back from it?
Due to Ryan Shea's death, it wasn't about me, so it took a long time. I saw maybe a doctor on that Monday just to, before I left New York, but he just said, hey, it was a tough course. You probably muscles start tightening up and things like that. But my forearm and knees just crying like a 10-month baby, and I was, using assistance to be able to move around because there's no way I could put any weight on it.
You couldn't walk.
But, but
Wow.